Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose. Thank you for joining me again. Sorry it's a bit later this week, but Corona, what can I, how are you all getting on? Hope you're all staying safe and stuff. We're in our first week, slowly going a bit crazy, I think. Let me know how you're all getting on. And thank you so much for my new subscribers and all the comments and likes and stuff. I really do appreciate it. One of the comments I got last week, and I do want to apologise, was on the Gabriel Fernandez story. I did pronounce his name Gabriel at the beginning, and I do want to apologise for that. Obviously it's Gabriel Fernandez, and someone pointed it out, so thank you for pointing it out, and I do apologise for that. Right, okay, so this week, this one, it's been on my mind to do for quite a long time, but I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, and the reason I'm doing it is because there are obvious similarities to the Gabriel Fernandez story, and also, like all my stories that I do, I think it needs to be told. I don't think it should be forgotten. I don't know if many of you will know this story, because I haven't seen any programs about it or anything televised. Everything I know about it is online, and when I heard about it and watched more and more information on it, it was just awful. And it's going to be really hard to tell the story, I can't lie, but I feel like it should be told. And considering it happened in 2010 and there was still a trial ongoing right up until last year regarding this, yeah, I just felt I wanted to tell it. And it's the story of Teghan Skiba. It's just awful. But Teghan was born on the 6th of July 2006. Beautiful little girl. Beautiful dark hair, brown eyes. Just said to be a really outgoing, lovely little girl. Just wanted to go and just wanted to play all the time, and just such a lovely little girl. Now, Teghan's mum was a lady by the name of Helen Reyes, I think I'm pronouncing that right, who was actually in the military. Her dad, Jerry Skiba, actually, he ends up incarcerated. That's why I said there are similarities to Gabriel Fernandez. And Helen Reyes meets Jonathan Richardson. This gentleman, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it all right, but in my head I'm thinking, how do I tell this story? So this is going to be one that if you can kind of do the journey with me, because it's just a really, really hard story to do. And I think it makes it harder because with the Gabriel Fernandez story, Baby P, Victoria Climbier, it was out there. I don't know if this one has been. So I don't know if a lot of you are going to know about this story. And if you do, you're going to know why I'm a bit apprehensive about doing it. Teghan's mum, let me start again. Teghan born on the 6th of July 2006. Beautiful little girl, born to Helen Reyes. Now, Helen was with Jerry Skiba, Teghan's dad, but they broke up. And she meets a gentleman called Jonathan Douglas Richardson, and she meets him in January 2010, which was when Teghan was 3. And it, right from the get-go, really, there was marks on Teghan. She's 3 years old, remember, and she's a very petite little girl. She's a really petite little girl. And there was marks. Now, this wasn't behind Helen's back. even Helen's sister at one point seen Jonathan push and shake Teghan because she was crying. So that was pointed out to her. She's seen welts on Teghan. And the reason I'm doing this so quick is this, what I'm about to tell you, happened in a 6-month period. 6 months, that's all. So the stuff that I'm telling you happened pretty much straight away when you're based on the timeline. Now, like I say, there's lots of pictures of Teghan where she looks so happy. She looks so cute. And then there's a couple of other pictures online after Helen's with Jonathan Richardson. There's one where she's got a black eye. She doesn't look like the same child. Very like Ellie Mae Butler. Completely different look in her eyes. Just heartbreaking to look at. There's also another photo that came out of Teghan. I don't know if she's half asleep or she just doesn't look there, but it looks like a baseball cap's been put on her head. She's got a cigarette hanging out of her mouth and a can in her hand. Cigarette doesn't look lit, it's like it's been propped for a photo, but it's Teghan herself that's even more concerning than the cigarette, if that can be possible. She just, the expression on her face is just, it's very hard, this story, because much like Gabriel Fernandez, you see photos, you see things. Now, you don't see autopsy photos, and thank God. And then Helen started to see welts on Teghan as well when Jonathan was babysitting her, and it was from an extension cord. So Helen's aware of all this, and Helen's aware of all this when she moves herself and Teghan into a shed at the back of Jonathan Richardson's grandmother's home. It sounds like it's a nice established home, grounds, and then this shed. Now this shed, just to give you an idea, was 15 by 13 foot. Small shed with just an air mattress. No running water, no heat, no nothing in there. That's where she moved her daughter, broke all contact with paternal grandparents completely, and there's no grandparents right in that part of America. And this is where she took Teghan, into a shed. And Jerry Skiba, like I say, he was incarcerated, he was in prison. Brilliant, great. But this is where Teghan's final home would be. And on on July the 5th, 2010, so the day before Teghan's 4th birthday, Helen Reyes, day before her birthday, by the way, had to go for military training. Now, I don't know if that's a mandatory thing. It could be. Maybe she had to go. But just letting you know, it was the day before Teghan's 4th birthday. And Jonathan and Teghan drop Helen off at the airport. It's the last time she sees Teghan. But remember, she's leaving her with a man who she knows has given her daughter a black eye. She's found whip marks on her. She knows that she's sending her daughter back to a 15 by 13 foot shed with a man who quite obviously has no patience, time, love for her daughter. Apparently there were other people she could have left Teghan with. This is who she chose to leave her with. Whether she thought his grandmother might possibly be involved, I don't know. Just as a mum, it just blows my mind that within 6 months of meeting this man, in which time he has been violent with your daughter, he has been abusive with your daughter, you go, okay, I'm going for 10 days, like 10 days, I'm going for 10 days, look after her. Again, the photo with the cigarette in the can, all before she left, all before she went, whip marks before she went, black eye before she went, all of this happened before she left. But it was going to get so much worse for Teghan. On their way back from the airport, Jonathan stops off at Lowe's. I think it's like a kind of a DIY shop, and he buys a thing called a hasp. I had to look up what that was, and it's kind of a lock for the door, basically so no one could enter the shed. That's what he gets. So he's looking after Teghan for 10 days. And on the 16th of July, 2010, so it's July 5th, 16th, yeah. On the 16th of July, 2010, Jonathan brings Teghan into the Johnston Memorial Hospital, carries her in, she's unconscious, brings her in and says she fell off her bed. Now, I told you then he had an air mattress in that shed. She fell off her bed. And when he brings her in, there was a nurse there called Nurse Mary Butler. I'd love to meet her and give her a cuddle. And basically, as he brings Teghan in, much like the first responders for Gabriel Fernandez, as they're addressing this head injury from falling off her bed, they're noticing marks over this little girl who only got, 9 days into her 4th birthday? Into her 4th year, sorry. And they're noticing marks. They're noticing chunks of skin missing. They're noticing such a severe head injury that her brain's swelling. And Nurse Mary Butler actually ran after Jonathan because he had to go and move the car. Yeah, of course she did. And she spins him around and grabs him by the throat. She's like, what did you do? And a policeman obviously comes up and she says, I want your gun. And he's like, why? And she goes, because I need to do it. What needs to be done here and now. And I just thought my heart broke for that nurse because, you know, she's a nurse and to have been made to switch to where you want to shoot somebody. Can you imagine what she saw on that little girl? Now, much like I do in my other stories, I'm going to let you know some of Teghan's injuries. Do you know, I do this in a lot of my stories. And, of course, this would be harder than the adult cases that I do because it's a 4-year-old little girl. But you know what? These injuries are so severe. They'd be hard to say if it was an adult. The fact that this is a child who's, you know, got these injuries. Oh, it's just devastating. Like I say, she had brain swelling. So much so, her brain was forcing its way out of her skull. She lost more than 70% of the blood in her body. She was whipped with an extension cord, as I said, but those whip marks, no, were on her, and bits of the copper wire fragments were in her skin, like embedded into her skin that she was beaten with so badly. She's obviously slapped, kicked, punched. There were 66 adult bite marks found on her from head to toe. She had one fingernail missing and one nipple missing. When they went to look at the shed, There was blood absolutely everywhere. There was duct tape with Teghan's hair found on it. 10 days. 10 days she was with him. You can't. 10 days. And he did all of that to her. And on top of it all, there was severe trauma to her genitals. So it was said that she had not only physical and sexual torture, there was psychological torture as well. And this is the most upsetting part. I'm really going to struggle. Online, like I say, there's no actual televised programs explaining this. You know, you get bits from different platforms. But there is one particular thing that I've watched. And it doesn't show it, thank God, because I don't think you'd ever get that out of your head. Much like other shows that I've watched, you know, you keep that vision, don't you? But I don't know if it's worse, because you hear this little girl, and basically Jonathan, on the 10th of July, so this would have only been 4 days after her birthday. There's a video of Teghan stood by a wall with her arms down by her side. This has been described. You don't see this. But she's got her hands to her side. She's staring at the wall. What you hear, though, there is audio of it, of Teghan saying, when I have to pee, I promise I will tell somebody. I promise I will tell someone. And she says it 3 times. And then you hear him say, speak up. And you hear her say it 2 more times. Now, I can't even imagine what the people in that court went through, because there was an actual video of it, not just audio. It was there, and they watched that. You know, hearing it is bad enough, because you can hear she's a baby. She's a baby. Now, Jonathan's excuse for Teghan's head injury, at least, he tries just for the head injury at first, was that they were sharing a bed and Teghan had wet the bed and defecated, so he said, and he lost control. Again, like Gabriel Fernandez. Oh, it's just this once. You know, I lost my temper. I couldn't control it. It was this one outburst. And again, like Gabriel, the prosecution had to prove this wasn't a one-off. This wasn't a loss of control or a black cloud coming over. I've only seen red. All these cliches. They had to prove it was systematic torture of this child. And, you know, you see the opening arguments in the trial. You see bits where they've got policemen who were attending breaking down in tears, where the trial has to be stopped to let them compose themselves, because you can see that it's coming back to them. Now, the trial itself didn't actually proceed until 2014. Now, Teghan actually was brought into the hospital. She was brought into the hospital on July 16, 2010. She actually passed on July 19th, 2010. They couldn't save her. They couldn't save this little girl. There was just too much damage done. So the trial for Jonathan Richardson started in 2014. You know, there was obviously so much evidence to get, and witnesses and people to testify. Now, Jonathan's defence, wait for it, he was abused. He was abused as a child, apparently. His grandmother can't back that up. Helen Creech, her name is his grandmother. She couldn't actually back that up, or didn't want to, whatever reason. But anyway, he was abused. I'm not. That sounds like I'm making light of the fact if he was abused. But I think we can say that as a society, people who are abused do not then go on to be abusers themselves. You know, they don't all go and do that. That's not an excuse. And like I say, he had an uncontrollable rage because she'd wet the bed. He said he had bipolar. And that was it, really. That was his defence. Now, the prosecution obviously were going for the death sentence. His charges were first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, first-degree sexual offence of a child, felony child abuse, inflicting serious injury. Those were the charges he faced. And they were, of course, going for the death penalty, which, again, I say all the time. I just think in these cases that should be not the 15 years they get here, you know. Now, on the 3rd of April 2014, so nearly 4 years later, Jonathan Richardson is sentenced to death. Exactly what I did with the Tony. I can't pronounce his last name. I don't want to get it wrong again. But in the Gabriel Fernandez story, you know, brilliant. Couldn't think anything better. Couldn't think it. Just, you see him as well. He's 25 years of age. He's young. He's a young guy. Again, though, trying to use that as an excuse. He'd never been around kids. He didn't know how to treat a child. You didn't know how to treat a child. You didn't know that beating them with an extension cord, biting them all over, taking chunks out their skin. Didn't think that hurt him, no. Gabriel Fernandez. Punching him. You didn't know that was hurting. It baffles me when defence go for this. You know, they did do it, but they didn't mean to kill him. Brilliant. So, yeah, 3rd of April 2014, he's sentenced to death. Now, the reason I said this still had continued up until last year, Mummy. Yeah, Mummy. Oh. This one, I just don't get how she's got away with it for so long. You know, she's given, you know, he took my baby and I can't believe he did this and I'll never forget her and I loved her so much. You knew? You knew? Those photos were taken before you went. His nan's seen the black eye. She took the photo. Your sister warned you. She's seen him pushing her and shaking her because she was crying. Within 6 months of meeting him, this isn't after 6 years. And you can go, oh my God, where's that come from? This is within 6 months. Did it start, even if it didn't start after 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, and he started when, you know, you see the photo with the cigarette in the mouth. It's just heartbreaking. It's like you see within the photos in real time, and then to hear the audio. Oh, it's just so upsetting. And there is an actual short video of Jonathan on the phone to Helen when he brought Teghan to the hospital and he'd got taken away and, you know, into the police station. And he's on the phone to her and he's like, oh, I loved her to death. And you know I wouldn't have done this. I would never have hurt her. How can they continue? Do they think, does he think she's not going to see and people aren't going to see the marks? A nurse has already tried to shoot you. How do you think just shut up? Just don't talk. Don't talk. Sorry, I get so angry because it's just. So back to her mum, and I used the term very lightly, mother, biological mother. It wasn't until 2019, but she was actually sentenced to 18 months for child neglect. 18 months. Couldn't it have been, I don't know, not manslaughter? What charge could you give? There would have to be one other than in child neglect. Let's just say child neglect then. Surely, you know, I do, I'm very pro the American justice system in their sentencing and what they're allowed to sentence. Why is this all she was given? What, because it was 9 years later and it didn't matter anymore? You know, if all that evidence was heard again, which I'm assuming it would be, you know, I didn't hear she took a plea deal, so why 18 months? Why? She went around, you know, she'd gone on that, and he'd, even if nothing had happened, you still want to have 10 days when you'd only been with this bloke 6 months. It was proved you had other childcare options. So even that would come under child neglect, absolutely. This, surely it's got to be more, surely. Child, I don't know. It couldn't be murder, I know, because she wasn't there. But I just think it's unforgivable that you knew the danger your child was in. You knew he was not a good person. He's whipping your child. He's giving her a black eye. He's finding it funny, or you both are, to have her looking completely void of any expression with a cigarette hanging. It's like they placed it on her mouth and a can in her hand and a cap just thrown on her head. It's so heartbreaking that I just had to do the story. I had to, and you know, it has been really upsetting, but you know, after doing the Gabriel Fernandez one, I just thought the similarities are right. Helen didn't join in, as far as we know, but she was there. That's just as bad. Just because you're not doing it, it's just, you've got, there's, you know, Gabriel Fernandez's mum got life, she'll never get out again. Why did you get 18 months? Well, she wasn't there at the actual time. But you knew it was going to happen. You knew it would. You couldn't have thought you were coming back to the same child you left. You couldn't, knowing what this man was capable of. Just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I've no words for this. These two despicable human beings. And I just thought, because it's not, I suppose, a televised story that I've heard of, I just wanted to share it with you. I just thought it should be out there. And yeah, it's the story of Teghan Skiba. Thank you for joining me. I don't know how to end this. I don't. Here I am again. I don't know what to say. It's just, it's just so upsetting. Such a sad girl. My advice on, you know, there's many times when I do these stories and I'm like, you know, it's out there, have a look. To be honest, the audio, I don't think anyone needs to hear that. It's horrible. It genuinely is. It was like when I seen the autopsy photos of Gabriel Fernandez. I wasn't expecting that. And much like that, when you hear the audio and you realise that's her, it's like, oh my God, you know, because obviously she's alive in the audio and you know what happened. It's just very, very upsetting. So that wouldn't be something I'd advise, I suppose. But, you know, if after hearing this story, you know, you feel like for yourself you need to, you know, you might want to, it's the Teghan Skiba Story. If you have a look online. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me again. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for my subscribers and all my comments. And yeah, stay safe at this time. Try and stay in as best you can. And just look after everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you.